row for Biden to step aside. In a new interview with The New Yorker, the Vermont Independent doubled down on wanting Biden to stay in the race. And Senator Sanders joins us now. So, Senator, given the growing calls and whispers, loud whispers from very big names in Democratic circles, isn't that causing a lot of destruction on the Democratic side?
Yeah, look,
and opening the door for Donald Trump? I mean, is Joe Biden, we know he's fit for the presidency. Is he fit to run, or should he step aside?
Well,
are you
I got to say something, if I may, in all due respect to my friends in the media. We might want to concentrate on what President Biden has accomplished, which is probably the strongest record for working families in the modern history of this country. And then we might want to talk about why people should vote for him and why, in my view, if he runs, he is going to be reelected. He has an agenda, we don't talk about it in the media much, that speaks to the needs of working families who have been ignored for decades. So when I go out and I tell people that President Biden wants to expand Social Security by asking the wealthy to start paying their fair share of taxes so we can increase benefits by $2,400 a year, people say, that's great. And when I say President Biden wants to expand Medicare so that we can cover dental, hearing, and vision, I know the media, these guys make a lot of money, not much interest in that. But if you're a senior who can't afford to go to a dentist, that means a lot. And if you have cancer, or have had cancer treatment, and you went bankrupt, or you lost your home because of the outrageous cost, President Biden wants to end all medical debt in this country. He has a massive housing program which will deal with the crisis that exists all over this country. He understands that in the midst of massive income and wealth inequality, maybe it's time for the billionaire class to start paying their fair share of taxes. And by the way, he is running against the guy who doesn't believe that climate change is real, while every scientist in the world tells us the future of the planet depends upon us acting aggressively to cut carbon emissions. So I think maybe if we start focusing on his record, start focusing on what he is trying to do, not only is he going to win, I think he has a chance to win very, very in a big way, because working class people in this country are hurting. They want specific ideas as to how their lives are going to be improved.
Senator, good morning. I want to ask you about the minimum wage specifically, which as it sits right now is just at the poverty line for an individual. Not good enough, but it's not just the media. It's not just, people who are billionaires and everybody else worried about their lives. It's your colleagues in the Senate. Jon Tester came out yesterday. As you know well, Chuck Schumer has expressed this concern to the president as well. They're just worried that with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, they may lose their seats and you may lose
Well, you know what
Senate.
I think.
What do you say to them?
I am very familiar with that, believe me. All right, I think maybe if the Democrats in the Senate spent less time criticizing Biden and more time bringing up legislation, you raise the issue of the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. I tried 2 years ago to raise it to $15 an hour. It should be higher than that. Bring that bill to the floor. See how many Republicans vote for a 17-hour minimum wage, which the American people want. President Biden has reached out to the unions, but they need help in terms of countering corporate influence in union elections. So we need to pass the PRO Act so that workers can form unions. We need to make it clear which side Congress is on in terms of climate change. We've done a good job with women's rights. We've made it clear that virtually every Republican, not everyone, but all Republicans do not believe that women should be able to control their own rights. We've got to take that fight on economic grounds as well. We have to deal with income and wealth inequality in this country. We got to address the reality that 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. We have to understand that housing is unaffordable throughout this country. Biden has an aggressive agenda to deal with it. Trump has nothing to say on those issues. Let's get around Biden's agenda. We're going to win this election.
Senator, as you know very well, $7.25 if you work full time, 8 hours a day, 52 weeks a year, gets you just over $15,000 a year at the poverty line for an individual. So whoever is president next, and I know you hope it will be Joe Biden, is there hope to get that number up to where it should be?
Of course it is. But let's be very clear. If you are watching this program and you're a worker in America, one of millions who are making $10, $12 an hour, if the Republicans win, if Trump wins, there will be no effort to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, zero. So we are trying to bring that wage up. We have almost every Democrat on board. I want more Democrats on board. But we have no Republicans on board to raise the minimum wage in this country to a living wage. And there's one other issue out there. In this, we have, in my view, a broken, dysfunctional healthcare system, which is designed to benefit the drug companies and the insurance companies. And by the way, President Biden has done more to take on the pharmaceutical industry, which is an enormously powerful institution in America, and start lowering prescription drug costs than any president in American history. But we also have a situation right now. If somebody has cancer, unbelievable. You have cancer right now, you got to worry about getting well. But you know what? 1 out of 4 people who have cancer treatment are dealing with bankruptcy. They're losing their homes because they're running up bills of hundreds of thousands of dollars. How insane, how cruel is that? The president wants to end all medical debt in America. That's a step forward. It's the right thing to do.
Senator Sanders, briefly, you support President Biden, but you have been critical of his handling of the war in Gaza.
Yes.
Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel is expected to be in Washington soon. What do you hope you hear from him, and how do you judge the president's handling of the crisis now?
I think the president is dead wrong on support for Israel in this war. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They invaded Israel. They killed 1,200 innocent people. Absolutely outrageous. The head of Hamas, Sinwar, is a war criminal, to my mind. Israel had a right to respond, but they do not have a right to kill 38,000 men, women, and children who are Palestinians, or to destroy the infrastructure, to destroy the housing, to destroy the medical system. What Israel is doing right now in their military campaign under Netanyahu's right-wing extremist government is horrendous. I personally believe that Netanyahu is also a war criminal. And I think we've got to do everything we can to end that war and to provide immediate humanitarian relief to the women and children and the people in Gaza right now. It is a horrific humanitarian disaster. So I will not be going to listen to Mr. Netanyahu. I think he's a war criminal. I think he never should have been invited. And I think it's a real problem for the Biden administration. But above and beyond that, Trump will be worse even on that issue.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.